I can't hear anything, Raymond.
And welcome to the Rotary Club meeting for October 5th, 2022. I am your president, Raymond Foster, and I understand by Glenn's hand machinations that the sound wasn't working on that. Well, that's just the way it goes sometimes. Do my best here. And we had a computer malfunction just prior to the meeting starting, but I'm glad that everyone is here and there are people still popping in. We got a lot of exciting stuff to talk about. We've got a great speaker today, a very great speaker, a fabulous speaker. Yeah. Hey, first thing I want to let you know about is on the 8th, which I believe is Saturday, the Laverne San Dimas Educational Foundation is having a cornhole tournament. And that is at the Laverne Brewing Company at 2125 Wright Avenue. If you want additional information on this and you are a fancier of this, whatever this game is, I'm not certain what it is, but they have cash prizes, a 50-50 raffle, and they're looking for teams of 2. So if you want further information, shoot me an email to sandimasrotary@gmail.com, and I will forward all of the information to you. We've also got coming up tonight, the Satellite Rotary Club will be meeting at 6 p.m. That is an online and hybrid meeting. The in-person portion will be taking place at High Point Brewery here in San Dimas, and then we will be also online, so you can come either way. And we've got a great speaker tonight on the Warrior Warehouse. They're doing a very similar thing down at Camp Pendleton to what the Satellite Rotary Club is going to begin at 29 Palms. The difference is Camp Pendleton does not provide food. They provide only furnishings and things like that to enlisted personnel. So we're really expanding and looking for a great place to form a partnership. This weekend, we had the Beer and Wine Walk. We participated with a booth. Thank you so much, Sylvia. That was a fabulous event. There were thousands of people there. We sold raffle tickets, and that was good too. Raised a little bit of money, passed out Rotary brochures, and answered questions. Interact Club. I was hoping Mike would be here because I was going to turn it over to him and ask him to give you all a briefing on Interact. But I will do it for him. We have now 70 students signed up to be part of the Interact Club at San Dimas High School. That is sort of the junior Rotary in their club. They had a fundraiser on Monday for where they sold Chick-fil-A sandwiches. They made themselves just over $100. And they've also taken 300 raffle tickets, and they're passing them out 25 to each member. And the point is they're going to sell, of course, their portion is the $4, and we'll get $1 for the foundation. And they've got a prize of AirPods to the student who sells the most. And hopefully somebody will go crazy and sell lots and lots of tickets. So lots of things going on. And when we get to Action 360, we'll go even deeper. But first, let's go around the room and introduce everyone. First up on my screen is Glenn Johnson.
My name is Glenn Johnson. I'm a member of the Satellite Club and San Dimas Masonic Lodge.
Sylvia.
Hi there, everybody. My name is Sylvia Melendez. I'm the CEO here at the San Dimas Chamber of Commerce. I wanted to thank everybody for coming out to our wine and beer walk. It was a huge success. And so we really, really appreciate the community support. Thank you so much.
And you are right across from the fire department there. I can hear them leaving. So Marianne.
Thank you. I'm Marianne Kistler. I am a member of Rotary for over 30 years, I guess. And I am the current foundation chair.
Well, Marianne, I can actually give them the date that you joined Rotary if you'd like me to tell everyone how long you've been a Rotarian.
Sure, go right ahead.
I believe you joined January 1st, 1993. So that is a long time ago.
Mhm.
Excellent.
Thank you.
Steve.
Yes, sir. Hi, everyone. My name is Steve Scott. I am the current secretary of the Rotary, been a member for about 13 years. Don't know if you have my exact date in there, Raymond, but I think it's somewhere about there. President-elect of the club, taking the reins over from Raymond. Super excited about that. And I am a State Farm agent in San Dimas.
And you get to go to pets, and pretty soon you're going to have to register for pets. I'm just so excited for you, Steve. I know how wonderful pets is, and you're going to enjoy the singing and all the camaraderie.
Yeah, it's kind of given me a revitalization in my life. It's given me something to look forward to. Very fired up.
Thank you very much. And Isabella.
Good morning. Still morning for me. I don't care. I'm Isabella Foster, current secretary of the Satellite Rotary Club of Military Family Support, and still a new Rotarian.
Excellent. So we have, I'm now getting text messages and emails. I will tell you, if you cannot get into or you don't receive the email, by the way, DACDB tracks the emails. I can see who opened them. Remember, you can go to sandimasrotary.org, and on the left-hand side under speakers, simply click the date and the speaker's name, and it comes up in a dialog box and gives you the Zoom to the speaker. So that's one easy way to get into every meeting that we're having. Let's go right to our speaker. Keep the meeting moving. Maria Foster is with the Los Angeles County District Attorney's Bureau of Victim Services, and she's going to present on the essential services provided to crime victims and witnesses. I'm going to let her introduce herself because I know she knows all about herself.
Am I screen sharing now?
You may screen share.
Thank you very much. Good morning, everyone. I am Maria Foster, and let me get my screen up here. I am a victims advocate with the Los Angeles District Attorney's Office. Our motto is helping victims become survivors. As you know, Los Angeles County has 12 million residents, and sadly, we have just a big, with the vastness of the city and the freeways and the expanse of so many valleys, we just have a tremendous crime problem. So we're here to assist victims of violent crime who don't have resources or don't have sufficient resources to take care of their needs. So what we do is we help people and their families survive and overcome physical, emotional, and sometimes the economic burden of crime. So usually we use the metaphor of the iceberg because what you see is the crime happened. You know, someone robbed me or conked me on the head or took my purse or stole my car. But what you don't see is all the other stuff that's going on with the mistrust, with the flashbacks of the crime reoccurring, with the fear and the anxiety, the being afraid to walk to the liquor store, the being afraid to walk to church, isolating yourself, avoiding people, being angry, jumping through your skin all the time. But the stuff you don't see is also the loss of income. That might have been your paycheck in your wallet, the loss of housing because you can't pay your rent. You may or may not have medical insurance. You may or may not have document. You might be a tourist in this country and you got robbed outside of Universal Studios, any of those things. So all of this is going on with victims of crime. And also you have, again, big tourist state. We have the different languages. We have victim blaming, you know, well, why were they out at that hour of the night? Or why were they on that street? Or what were they dressed like? So these are all the different services that are mandated by the California Penal Code. And I'll go through them briefly, one by one. And crisis intervention is just that. It's something bad. It happened right now or yesterday, or you woke up in the hospital, you were in a coma and you don't know what happened. But the police tell you that you were robbed or you were hit by a drunk driver, any number of things. So sometimes we go to the hospitals. We've had car accidents with drunk drivers where we have to go out to the victims because they're in a body cast, they're in a rehab center getting treatment still, or they've been sent home, but both their arms are broken, so they need assistance. They can't drive. Sometimes they can come to my office, sometimes they cannot. I do a lot of work over the phone. And basically that's just to do an immediate assessment, find out what this person wants, what they need, and what assistance we can provide quickly. And part of that is Los Angeles County is so big that we can provide some emergency assistance, a one-time emergency grant for people. So maybe the crime occurred in, my house was broken into and there's blood on the carpet, the burglar cut his arm. So we can help with crime scene cleanup. We can help with reimbursing you for staying in a hotel one night while your house gets cleaned up, or the crime happened in my car, that needs to be cleaned up, or my purse was taken and my medicine was in there, my dentures, my eyeglasses, I'm fine, but I need this emergency medication right away. So we can help people with that through LA County. And then, of course, providing resource and referrals. Did it happen at work? Did it happen on the street? Did it happen in your car? Because that's going to apply in different ways. People sometimes have insurance, or they only have liability, or the other person doesn't have insurance. And so then we have to talk about civil lawsuits. We have to talk about if they were working and can't work, can they get unemployment? Can they get the state disability? Can they get on CalWorks, which is what we used to call welfare? Can we get them food stamps? Do they need someone to come into the house and help them wash, help them clean themselves? So all of those are different resources that we can provide throughout the county. And so what we assist also is with providing an application for that loss, for the financial loss. Maybe they have insurance, but their insurance only covers 80%. And if you've been hit by a car, that bill is going to be $250,000. Great, they pay 80%, but that still leaves you with more than $50,000 in bills. And that's where we come in to assist with that, to assist with co-pays, anything that you paid out of pocket, then we'll help you pay for those things. And if you have any questions, please type them in. And Raymond will let me know what they are. The biggie, when we come, if someone is arrested and charges are filed, sometimes the crimes are not solved, but if someone is arrested and charges are filed, is that we provide court support to victims of crime inside the courtroom. And the biggest thing we have to deal with, and not just from tourists, not just from people from other countries, but with our own American English-speaking population, is an orientation to the criminal justice system. We have this Hollywood version of, we've already arrested them, boom, the hour's over, crime is solved, it's over. No, no, no. We have the Constitution and the Bill of Rights, and one of the biggies is the Sixth Amendment, which means that everyone, no matter what the crime, no matter how heinous, that person is innocent until they're proven guilty. So they get arrested, they get to court, they plead not guilty. That's really, really very offensive to victims of violent crimes. Somebody did something to my son, or someone killed my father, or someone shot my brother, and this person is pleading not guilty when there's video and witnesses and fingerprints and the gun and the bullets and everything. That's really hard for people to accept. But it is their constitutional right for defendants to plead not guilty. And so explaining that, accompanying people to court, calling them back, telling them when the court's going to be. Some people want to be at every single court hearing, and some people just don't call me at all, or call me when the whole thing is over. So just explaining innocent until proven guilty. I spent maybe half of my day doing that. That they're going to plead guilty, that they have the right to a jury trial, that yes, you do have to appear in court, or guess what? They pleaded guilty, so you did not get your day in court, but that's because they already pleaded guilty. So there was no need to have a trial. So, and then just holding hands, bringing Kleenex, bringing water, and just providing some comfort and support for victims before they testify. So here's the Sixth Amendment. Sometimes suspects can be released. They can pay bond to get out. We had a case here with a serial rapist. His bail was $1 million because the court thought that that would suffice to hold him. Guess what? He had $1 million, paid it, got on a plane, and was literally on his way to the other side of the world when someone called us and let us know. So we called that government. They, as soon as the plane landed, they snatched him up, handcuffed him, put him back on a plane with their police officers and brought him back. And we raised that bail to $10 million. Most of us cannot afford that. Most of us can't afford 50,000, 20,000. But they do have that. And now, because again, we've got all of these political powerhouses that are influencing our LA County politics right now. This DA does not believe in bail. He believes very much in second chances. So massive amounts of suspects are being released on their own recognizance. We had a guy here a few months ago, literally every week he was back arrested in a different stolen car, and he got released because it wasn't a violent crime. And then again and again, 12 times in 8 weeks. And there's only so much that the district attorneys can do now because, again, because of these political stances, and we have to abide by. So we argue the point, we go on record, and we try and get increases in bail. But ultimately, it's what the judge agrees to, and what what the politics allow us to do. So court support is just that. We go with the persons. The youngest people I've had on the stand are 4-year-old little girls and 2 6-year-old little boys. And yes, it was for sexual abuse. And I got to tell you that children get on the stand, they tell the truth. At first they're frightened, but then just telling the truth, they just come out and say whatever it is that they have to say. The ones who suffer the most in these cases are the parents. So I'll be inside with the child and another advocate will be outside with the parents, consoling them because they can't be in, especially if they're the first person that the child told. If that's who disclosed, the child disclosed to the parent, we can't have them in the same courtroom. So we'll accompany you. Sometimes we'll have the police, the detectives pick up witnesses, bring them to court so that no one sees their car because they're afraid of retribution. We can have them come in the back entrance. We can have them park in a special place. We can have them come in through back elevators so that no one sees them come in. They come in, they testify, and we get them out of there as quickly as possible. And there are other things that we can do for witnesses. So a lot of people do not realize that if you're the victim of any kind of intimate partner violence, what we call domestic violence, you have the right to have a support person at every point of the interview, starting with law enforcement, detectives, the district attorneys, and also in court. And if it's any kind of a sexual assault, no matter how minor or how serious, you have the right to have 2 support persons. So that can be anyone that you trust. We usually have someone will pick their parent, and if the parent can bear it, then fine, that can be done. Otherwise, we'll have an advocate. We've had people bring in their pastors or their priests. We've had people come in with their therapist, their favorite uncle, whoever, especially if it's a child, whoever puts that child at ease. We can have 2 people, one sitting right next to them on the stand, and then myself in the audience to provide additional support. But if, again, that witness, if the mom or the dad are able to be in court, but then they start crying or they get mad or they want to jump over the barrier and attack the suspect, and it has happened, we have to pull those people out and then just have the child and the advocate on the stand helping them. So it's not just a good idea to do this. This is actually law. And I always, I got a subpoena. What is it? Do I have to be in court? Well, does it say you have to be in court? And they look at it. Yes, it says be in court. Then guess what? You have to be in court. It's not an invitation. It's a subpoena. It's an order signed by the judge. And this is a biggie for people because they don't want to come to court. They just want this person arrested and thrown in jail. And they don't want any due process. They don't want any trial. They don't want to testify, but we have to because we have to abide by the Constitution. The only exception to these are if you are the victim of a sexual assault, yes, you have to show up in court, but if you decide at the last moment that you cannot testify, you can't bear it, you can't do it, we cannot make you testify. Okay, we cannot. And I have had very few cases where a sexual assault victim has not gone on the stand. Usually it's because they're so traumatized, they are so ashamed, they've not told anyone, they've had no support, they were trying to fix it themselves, and now they're suffering all of this, thinking that they're losing their mind because they can't sleep, they can't eat, they can't think, they already crashed their car, they changed their job, they changed their where they live, they changed religions, or they became involved in a very fundamentalist religion. They've changed everything about their life, but this injury they have not been able to overcome. And that's because it's basically trying to fix a broken arm by yourself, because the trauma also short circuits your brain. And that's where the therapy comes in. We have to work with people to help them to calm down, to help them to get through this trauma. So only sexual assault victims don't testify. Everyone else, we've explained why things have to be done, and almost everyone will get on the stand and we're able. And again, that's just support, knowing that they're not alone and understanding why they have to come to court. So for children, we get extra special procedures. We've got coloring books and crayons that explain what the inside of the courtroom looks like, where they're going to sit, what the judge wears, where the bailiff is, what is a court reporter. And I always hand those out. We also give them tours, even if they're not minors, if they're adults with an intellectual disability, we'll give them tours and introduce them. We'll let them sit in a chair. They spin around in the chair. They play with the microphone. And then between meeting me, not because I'm so special, but meeting the advocate and getting the coloring book and getting the tour and taking all that information home, then by the next time they come in, they recognize people, they recognize the courtroom, and it's less frightening for them. And like I said, most of the testifying is very frightening before. After people testify, they're very tired and very hungry and they feel much better. You know, the truth will set you free. So again, if you've got a 4-year-old who's only in school for 3 hours, then that's how long that child can testify. After that, that's it. We have to come back another day. But if you're in high school and you can testify, maybe be here 6 hours, then we can do that. And adults, of course, you'll be here all day. Hopefully the person will plead before that. But that's one of the things that we can do for children. And there are your penal codes. Here's something a lot of people are not aware of, and that's victims information and notification every day. If someone's been arrested, whether I've been the victim of a crime or a family member has been arrested, you can register at this telephone number or at this hyperlink, and you will be told what that person's booking number is, when they were arrested, what courtroom they're due in, not which case, because that's confidential, but are they going to Pomona, or are they going to El Monte, or maybe Downey? And it also tells you if they've been released, especially if there's any kind of elder abuse, child abuse, or intimate partner violence. That family needs to know if this person is out, because they may have to move right now. We may have to put them up in a shelter or put them in a hotel, or literally buy a bus ticket, an airplane ticket, and get them out of the state, depending on the severity of the crime. But if the bail's super, super high, and there's no way, they don't have the funds or assets or bank accounts to pay bond, then that person can stay at home a few more days for them to gather materials and get them packed and make arrangements for them to go elsewhere for their own safety. So VINE is really critical, just for people to know who's in jail and what's going on. And if someone is convicted of a crime and sentenced and they go to local jail, you can use VINE. But if they're going to a state prison like Tehachapi or Folsom or San Quentin, yikes, there's a victim assistance program that's in the prison itself, and we work with them. We provide the forms, we fill them out so that the victim and the victim's surviving family members can then also register with the prison to be notified if this person asks for an early release, if they're out for parole, if there's a parole hearing. The new district attorney does not allow our district attorneys to represent the victims anymore, nor do they allow the advocates. However, we know a lot of attorneys that are working specifically with Marcy's Law and with this kind of clients. And so we can refer them to attorneys that will provide services for victims of crime, specifically to address parole hearings and to protest that this person should not be released. And these are my very good reasons why. Politics. Okay, and I made a crime report 5 years ago. I know someone got arrested, but I never knew what happened. Or every spring we have the moms whose children or husbands or relatives have been killed. Every spring they call. This case, I never knew whatever happened. It's been 20 years. It's been 30 years. It's been 5 years. and we'll look up the case, we'll find who the investigating officer is and let them know, this is the mother, this is the grandmother, this is the daughter. Has anything happened? Has anything, can we give them your name and number? Are you the new investigator? So that these people can at least speak to the investigator and find out, you know, we didn't get any leads, or yes, we did get some leads, but the person, you know, we're trying to extradite them. There could be any number of things that are going on with a homicide case. So we do provide that, or, you know, they pled guilty and that's it, or there's a warrant for their arrest because they fled to another country. So anyone that needs information on the case from a long time ago, as long as it's before 95, I generally can find it and I can give you answers on whatever happened to that. Of course, you have the right to have your property returned. So if someone steals my wallet and they catch them half a block away, the police can take a photograph of the wallet and take a photograph of the money and give you back your property. If it's a homicide, they're probably going to hold the property for a long time, but I always have family members that want the decedents. They either want the clothes or they want their jewelry, their cross, their Star of David, and especially the cell phone. They want the cell phone, they want the photographs, they want the videos. Those things are precious to the families of homicide victims. So we make sure that as soon as the case is over, we can appeal to the court so that that piece of evidence can be released. That's a biggie. And of course, restitution. So you get hit by a drunk driver and that person's working and they have insurance, you're probably going to get the damages to your car paid back. But if the person is a ne'er-do-well with a criminal history, never had a job, not going to get one, we can order them if they're found guilty. We can order them to pay you for the damages, the restitution, but we can't order them to get a job. Then we have to go through the restitution enhancement program and have that unit help the victims of crime with a civil lawsuit. That matters. Some people are like, nah, I don't even want to bother. Another is like, yes, I don't care if this person pays me $20 for the rest of their life. I want them to remember why they're paying. So that's the victim's rights. That's the victim's decision. Our job is to inform them of this and to assist them if they want to proceed with a lawsuit. And the thing about the civil lawsuit is it attaches to the social security number. So maybe they're not working right now when they committed this crime, but if they get any money, any of the incentive programs from the government, or if they go on unemployment, or if they're getting welfare, then we can draw monies from that. Is everybody still with me? Okay, I talked about the restitution program. So again, we have an entire unit that does nothing but that. One of the other things that we do is we'll call landlords, or we'll call bosses. You know, my boss is mad. I've been coming to court for 3 days now. He says he's going to fire me. Well, bosses cannot fire you for obeying a subpoena because it's signed by a judge. So we'll call the boss and we'll take some of that pressure off. Or we'll call and say, hey, this person got robbed. The rent money, they've only got half of it. They won't get paid for 2 weeks. Will you let them, on behalf of the DA's office, will you please give them some slack and give them an opportunity to gather the money so that they can pay you half now and half in 2 weeks? And when you say you're with the DA's office, most landlords agree to that. If there's something else going on where they've been a problem client, they've been behind it for 5 months, that's not related to this crime, then we're going to have to refer that person to eviction attorneys. But for right now, we can assist them with that, notifying them of court calendar changes. A biggie is funeral arrangement. People don't even know where to start. Most of us see the commercials for the biggies, Forest Lawn, Live Oak, Rose Hills, but a lot of just regular family people, no one's ever died in their family. And so they've never had to do this. Where do I start? And so we can provide referrals for that. Some people prefer burial. Some people have to have a Buddhist ceremony, or they have to have a Jewish ceremony with a very strict time limit. And so we can provide those resources for those clients. Here in El Monte, we also accept temporary restraining orders. We have legal aid in every major courthouse, and that's going to be Pomona, Pasadena, downtown Los Angeles, Torrance, etc. Because sometimes people need a temporary restraining order for a myriad of reasons. And so at the very least, then I can assess you and I can tell you whether if your restraining order is going to get approved. Because sometimes we have people I don't want my neighbor looking at me. Well, you can't get a restraining order because your neighbor's looking at you. You get it for if they hit you, if they burn something, if they've assaulted you in some way, that's where restraining orders come into play. And then, of course, we've got assisting people with relocation. We can assist with funerals up to $12,800. We can assist with relocation about $2,100. Oops, that went too fast. And then also, if there really is a life-threatening emergency where we need to move these people now, the detectives already know that they go through the district attorney's office. There's a special fund through the attorney general's office. We will literally fill out the forms and the detectives will pick these people up, throw everything in bags and luggage, and we'll take them to a confidential hotel location where they will be for weeks until we can get them moved to another state or, and it's not a federal change of identity, but we can assist with name changes and things like that. That's only for absolutely positively people are banging on your door saying we're going to kill you because you testified. Now, retribution in the movies is way overblown. It hardly ever happens, thank goodness. If someone gets arrested, if I'm in a gang and I testify against another gang member, I guarantee there's going to be hell to pay. But if I'm just an average citizen that someone stole my car and I identified them, they don't know what half the time what they're doing, and they're not going to go back because stealing that car may be a $20,000 bail. But intimidating a witness, that's what starts at $120,000 because we're not just talking about the victim being threatened. That's the sanctity of the criminal justice process being threatened. And so that's why the bail is you can have a misdemeanor crime and you threaten a witness. Now it's a felony. Now it's a serious prison sentence crime. So it doesn't happen a lot, thank goodness. Again, these are all the different authorities for why we do what we do. It is part of the California Constitution. I think there are 37 states in the union that have a victim assistance program. Every state is different. Every state has different criteria for eligibility. Some require social security numbers, some do not. Some require all kinds of, injury or no injury. Every state is different and the amounts are all different. So if something happened to you and you were in Las Vegas, we California can't pay for it, but we know the people that are in Nevada, and we can contact those advocates and help you with that application. I get people that come from New York and Texas and they're moving here because of elder abuse or intimate partner violence. And we contact those agencies and work with them, with the victims and those other states so that we can provide assistance for getting them out here and different services that are available in California. So Marcy's Law, I'm just going to go over this really briefly. Marcy was a young lady who was brutally murdered by her boyfriend. And for X, Y, and Z reasons, he may have been investigated, but he hadn't been charged. And then he got released and the family bumped into him. And of course, they were having conniptions. And so this family, the father especially, started a grassroots movement so that now this has become part of the California Constitution. And that means that we, by law, have to tell you, these are your rights, and we have to inform you in writing, and you have to let us know which ones you want to enforce and which ones you don't. Fairness and respect, that should be a given. To be reasonably protected by the defendant. If you have a stalking case and this was a simple car vandalism, but you've got all these other crimes, we can put them together and increase the bail. There's all kinds of different things that we can try to do for you. Not let the defense have your information. Let you know that you don't have to be interviewed by the defense attorney. They're going to try. And if you want to, that's fine. But if you don't want to, you can say no, thank you, and hang up the phone. You have the right to speak with the DA about your case. Some people ask for mercy. Some people say throw away the key. That's your right. Some people don't want to talk to the DA again. They just want to know what's going on. Some people want to talk to the judge. Speedy trial, again, the defendant is driving that because of the Sixth Amendment. But providing information to the probation department, getting sentencing reports, and absolutely biggie, everyone wants to know what happened at the end. Did they plead guilty? What's the sentence? When are they going to get released? And what about restitution? So those are biggies. Okay, so these are some of the losses that we cover. And we get those for two sources. One is the state restitution fund, and the other is restitution that's ordered from the convicted defendant to pay the victim. So every suspect of every crime in the state of California has to pay $100 into the restitution fund for starters. So if I shoplifted, I have to pay into this fund. If I was arrested for drunk driving, for whatever the crime is, all of those millions of people throughout the state will pay into this fund. And from there is that we pay for the funerals for innocent victims. We pay for medical bills. We pay loss of income for medicines and other emergency services. And then also additionally, then the defendant can also be made to pay services. We always try and pay. Some people say, well, I want the defendant to pay this hospital bill. The thing is, if the defendant's a ne'er-do-well, we can pay the bill now so it doesn't go to collections, and then the defendant can owe us the money. But because this is what's going to take care of the victim now, and that's more important, but it's their choice. Here's our criteria. You have to cooperate for law enforcement. If you've been shot, you're in the hospital, and believe me, I don't make these stories up. And the detectives talk to you and say, hey, what's going on? Like you, I'm not talking. Guess what? We can provide other services, but not through the California Victims Compensation. They can't have been involved in the event. So again, if I'm driving under the influence and I crash my car and I get hurt, my passengers, they're not going to get any assistance if they willingly got into the car. If I grab someone against their will and then crash the car, absolutely, because now we're talking kidnapping and reckless endangerment and many other crimes. So cooperating with the crime, not being involved with the crime or the events leading up to that crime. You have to apply within 7 years of the event, because a lot of people think I'm fine. You know, they just stole my wallet. I'm good. And then about a year and a half later, they start realizing maybe they're not as fine as they thought they were. Or the victim was a minor and the parents just say, hey, we're going to move. We're never going to talk about this again. They're just going to go to church or temple or mosque and you'll be fine. So that child, if the minor was the victim, that child can come back and they have up until the 28th birthday. And we get a lot of cases of kids who didn't get any therapy. And, you know, the parents say, we're not going to talk about this because it was taboo for whatever their culture, their religion, their country, you name it. And now the child is 18 or 19, they're strung out on drugs. And I think it's because this happened to me when I was 8. We'll go back, find the report and get that person the services they need. So I have had many, many of these cases. So you don't have to be physically injured, just the threat of injury. If someone throws a brick and it misses, I still could have been seriously injured. That counts. If they threw a knife and it missed, that still counts. Or if I say, I'm going to beat you, if you tell the police, mom and dad are fighting and there's children. And if you tell the police, I'll get you too. And the children tell, daddy told us not to tell, that child will qualify, of course, for assistance. We don't do property loss, so broken TVs, cell phones, things like that. We don't cover, but we cover the human being. So medical expenses, emotional, we'll do home security for their emotional well-being, for their physical safety. We'll help them move, all of those things. And also, I live there and I have a roommate and I was harmed inside my house. My roommate came out and saved me. Then the roommate, because of the proximity and being the eyewitness, and we live together, even if we're not romantically involved, my roommate would also qualify for services. So all the immediate family or anyone with whom I live. So these are all the different, this is a duplicate. The person who was injured, their immediate family members, the immediate parents, or any family member or roommate who was there. And we've had, for example, someone stabbed in a taco line. There's 20 people in line. So everyone within arm's reach of that person was certainly eligible for assistance because they could have been harmed. And any minors who witness any intimate violence, child abuse, elder abuse also, because it happens inside the home, those minors are going to be eligible for assistance. Also, if a child is just in the front yard, someone drives by and shoots the neighbor, not my family member, but I'm a minor and I just saw this crime, that minor is going to be eligible for assistance also. Now, here's the caveat. If you're on felony probation or on parole, remember, if you're still on parole or felony probation, you're paying into the restitution fund. So you can't get money out. So we can take your application, but we're not going to pay for anything until that ends. So there are other services that are available, like emergency medical and general relief and food stamps, and there are different food banks and different shelters that we can assist you, but this particular program can't. Here are all the different crimes that are covered. So direct services, that's me, and we have advocates throughout LA County, and then our unsung heroes are all the bill payers in claims verification, and they contact the hospital, they verify that this broken arm is directly related to this crime, that this car was cleaned up because of this crime, that you live where you say you live, or that you moved where you say you were going to move, and so on and so forth. So everything has to be verified. We can't just take people of their words, because unfortunately, sometimes not the most honest people are also victims of crime, and they've tried to scam us, legitimate victims, where they were eligible for the money, and for reasons I cannot explain, they just tried to scam us and we couldn't help them. These are all the stars and all the places where we work. And if you see, we start down in San Pedro and we work all the way up through downtown, the San Fernando Valley, into Santa Clarita. And then we start through LAX, all the way across, basically across all the major freeways, through downtown again. And in the San Gabriel Valley, we have East Los Angeles, me in El Monte, West Covina, and the Pomona Courthouse. And then two poor people that are in Antelope Valley, all by the lonesome, getting snowed in the winter. Oh, poor things. I weep for them. Okay, so this is our office. And again, we do every April Crime Weeks, where we talk about our services and the way that we can help people. And we also do every year a holiday giving drive for children who have lost their parents due to crimes. Either through homicide or because they were killed in a vehicular manslaughter case, you're really terrible sexual abuse cases, all of those are child abuse cases, all of those children get nominated, and then we assist as many children as we can in the Los Angeles County area. So that's just something we do on the side every holiday season. That's Tanisha Wright, our director, our new address in the beautiful Alhambra area. And that's my information. That's my direct number. Don't call it right now. I'm busy. And that's my email if you want to contact me. Any call that I get when I do a presentation is completely confidential. I am a mandated reporter. So if you tell me you're going to hurt yourself or you're going to hurt someone else, I have to report that. But anything else, if you were the victim of a crime and you don't know what happened, or you never told anyone, and you want counseling or you want referrals, everything is 100% confidential. No one will ever know that you called me. So that's my information. I'm happy to entertain questions.
Well, we've got you a very thorough presentation. We got time for one or two questions. I'll open it up to anybody who'd like to ask a question. Well,
Silence.
you were very thorough. That's what happened. So, just what is the most difficult thing for referral that you have going on?
The most housing.
Yeah.
Housing, without question, housing. We have 3 times more animal shelters than we do for human beings, even for intimate partner violence, for domestic violence. We have a real problem with that. And of course, we can put more animals into little cages and take more animals, but there are literally more physical building shelters for animals than it is for human beings. And I don't know why that is. We've certainly had enough pets in our household. And, we still we're animal lovers. We have cats, we've had hamsters. But yeah, housing is the absolute biggest one.
Any other questions? Well, thank you very much. I sincerely appreciate your time, as I know the Rotary
Thank you.
does.
Thank you, everyone.
Thank you.
Thank you very much for your service. And we are going to go forward and continue with the rest of the meeting. First thing we're going to do is go to the Fine Master. And so I'll open it up to our Fine Master, Casey Cox.
All right. Well, I want to just fine everybody about $500 because we're all doing pretty darn fine comparison to a lot of people who are utilizing the services we just heard about. So I'll start with that. Anybody want to take it up to the next level? Go for it. No, I'm just kidding. We have the opportunity to tell us what's fine, what's not fine, or to fine ourselves for life just being good. Who would like to share a little bit about what's going on and find themselves to talk?
Find myself, Casey. I will find myself $14 because Sunday was my 14th anniversary as a State Farm agent. So that seems apropos.
Congratulations,
Excellent.
Steve.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
Congratulations. I'd like to find myself. I'll find myself $10 because last night I went to the Dodger game and I got a Justin Turner bobblehead number 10 for my $10 fine.
Raymond, I think Maria had more fun at the game. Am I correct?
Maria wasn't with me. I was with her sister. So Maria, well, probably did have more. So she was not there. Her sister took me.
There you go. Awesome.
Any other fines? Okay. Thank you.
My fine will be a rounding up to the nearest $20 value of 20, 40, 60, 80 once I get over to Steve and actually pay my past bills, dues, and assessments. I'll round up in the name of fine.
That sounds
That
fine
works.
to me. Well, I appreciate you rounding up. Any other fines we got from people? Excellent. All right. So let's move on to Action 360. I told you Satellite Rotary Club Military Family Support meets tonight, 6 p.m., High Point Brewery or the Zoom link. Speaking of Zoom links, now, if you go to sandimasrotary.org and remember every person, and you look on the left-hand side, you'll see the speakers. You click on the speaker for the day and a dialog box will open up with the Zoom link. So I know the email goes out at least a week in advance for the meetings, but if you lose it or it disappears or it fades into the Netherlands, you can always go there and find the link. I want to remind you of the Cornhole Tournament on the 8th for the Laverne San Dimas Educational Foundation. If you'd like additional information to be a team member on that, just send me an email at sandimasrotary@gmail.com. Raffle is going well. Sell your tickets. I know you all have 100 tickets. You should sell your tickets. I will tell you that Glenn and Isabella have sold their tickets. So you guys all need to get busy. Foundation status. There will be a board meeting for the foundation at the end of the month as soon as we get all the receipts in for the USMC benefit dinner committee. I will tell you that to pull off that benefit dinner, we needed to raise $10,950 by November 10th. We have already raised $10,950. So if met the budget, we will be able to have that event and make those large contributions to those organizations we're going to support, or we are supporting. Also, all the tickets are sold. We have sold 100 tickets to that $50 dinner, and I suspect that most of those people will show up. So we have actually created a reserve list of a few. One of the things I got to talk to Glenn about is how many people we can actually pack in that room. But it's going to be a great event. We have a date for the fashion show. Unfortunately, Diva's not here to give us more information, but as we get it, we'll get it out to you. Lastly, for me, is Club Assembly. We have Club Assembly scheduled on December 8th. I sent an email out. That is a combined club, Satellite Club and Rotary Club. That is a social event, essentially, where we will get together. There is no speaker, no real program. We get together at about 6 somewhere. Give me your ideas of where you'd like to go, anywhere in the local San Dimas area, or maybe a little farther afield if that's what you desire, so we can get that in everybody's calendar, because as you know, that is around the time everyone's doing holiday parties, and we ought to get our request in as soon as possible. Last thing I have for you is to go over the calendar very quickly, and then we will have completed today's meeting for all that I know. So you can see the calendar. We've got great speakers coming up tonight. It will be the Dave Hensley from the Warrior Warehouse will be the Satellite Club. And next Wednesday, our next meeting on the 19th, we will have Roger Brish, who is going to speak on words in red, and those are trigger words that are used by primarily teens who are having suicidal ideations. It will be, I believe, a very interesting and informative meeting. And then between that, on the 12th is a board meeting. On November 2nd, the City of Hope. On November 2nd, the Satellite Rotary Club has a Major General Peter Gravatt, retired U.S. Army. Fascinating career. He enlisted in the military. He worked his way up to a 2-star general. 5 of his 12 siblings served in the military. He has an excellent, just from poverty to success. He lives in Palos Verdes. It's going to be a great meeting. Then we have coming up, tentatively scheduled, is Betsy Kruger, no relation to the Kruger of fame, but her thing is on, she is a life coach on success. And so as soon as that gets dialed in a little bit more, I have stuff for you. High Point Rotary Club has Ed Turner on the MIA Memorial, and then Josh Baker coming up. He's confirmed, and that's the California National Guard enlisted Soldiers Association speaking. So we've got speakers all the way through the end of the year. If you'd like some kind of speaker, we can start to work on the calendar for next year. So let me know. And now it's open to you. Is there anything anybody wants to bring to the Rotary Club? Come on, Sylvia, there's got to be something going on.
I just have a lot going on.
Yes, I know you do.
We have just sharing like the different events that are going on, or you?
Anything, well, you know, I know that the only thing that's in the top of my mind, and I have the complete calendar for what this going on, chamber mixers, chamber events, ribbon cuttings, that's always available on your website. And I encourage members, as members of the Rotary and also indirectly the chamber, to attend those events. They're always very interesting and a lot of fun. So the only thing that's in my mind is a holiday extravaganza, but that's a city event. We got to start thinking about what we want to do. I think we do with the hot coffee thing like we've done every year. That seems to be something that gets people to the booth. And of course, we'll have the drawing for the $10,000 diamond ring on that day. So that's coming up.
I'd love to, if anything, cross promotion, if you all wanted to join me for maybe this month or next month for our luncheon, if you were open to that.
You know, what we've done is
happy.
we've made it on our calendar. All of the chamber luncheons are meeting days for us. And so I'm just kind of waiting for you to get information out. And certainly if we're going to, are you going to start meeting again in person?
Not for the rest of the year,
Okay.
but hopefully within the next couple of months, yes.
So
It's
once you get those Zoom links set up, I'll make sure that the members get a copy of that and they all know that that's considered a meeting date to go to the chamber luncheon. You always have great speakers also.
Thank you very much.
And it's provide your own lunch, by the way. Anybody else?
Do we
Yes.
happen to know what, how much money we made from the wine and beer walk, just from like the dollar raffle tickets? Just out of
About-
curiosity.
About $250.
Yeah.
So that's where we took essentially what was left over from the hospitality suite, and we repackaged it, rebranded it, and sold dollar raffle tickets and raffled it off that night and gave away. They were really cool packages, I think. We still have about 12 bottles of wine, and those are going to be gifts from the Rotary at Chamber Mixers as long as they last.
Thank you.
Other questions? Okay, everybody, I will see you this evening at the Satellite Rotary Club of Military Family Support. I know that after I stop recording, Glenn and Steve are going to hang on for a moment, but that is